Hello, bonjour, здравствуйте, assalamu alaikum, guten tag, ni hao, konnichiwa. Big hello and warm welcome to you to the Knitters Party podcast. My name is Megan. I'm coming to you from Cairo, Egypt, where I live with my husband for the next 6 months, it looks like. We have been here for about 2 months now, and we have really acclimated pretty well. So I'm really excited to show you today just everything that I've been knitting, everything else that I have. I have a lot to show you today. But before we get into that, you can always find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Meg311yo. That's my handle pretty much everywhere. I also started a Twitter, but I don't really tweet a lot. You can follow me there too if you want. It's at Meg311yo. Cool. Let's get right into the knitting content, shall we? I have a lot to talk about today because I ended up going to a craft fair here in Cairo. It's called the Cairo Flea Market, which made me think it's all going to be secondhand, you know, flea market, used goods, but a lot of it was actually handmade, beautiful things. So I'll show you a little bit about what I bought. I bought some cool little crocheted things and some bags, a lot going on. I have a bunch of finished objects, a couple of new works in progress for you, and of course just my usual good Egypt stories. If I'm sweating, I apologize. It's actually a heat wave right now in Cairo. It's about 95 degrees today, and I have been zipping out and about. This is my day off for the week. I work Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, so Tuesdays are sort of my day to do chores and go out and about, what have you. And this week we are preparing for my parents' visit to Cairo. They're coming in 1 week, less than a week. They're gonna be here on Saturday, I think the 24th of March. So we're sort of preparing everything. We're doing a lot of laundry. We have to go out and pick up new pillows and sheets and blankets for their beds, etc. It's just been a busy day, but I found some time to podcast, and this is my me time for the afternoon. But again, I apologize if I'm sweaty. I've been out and about all day. It's like 95 degrees, which I think is 36 Celsius. I'm not exactly sure on that, but it's hot as balls. So I don't know what I'm doing with all my wool and all my knitting, but we're just gonna get right into it. Okay, my first work in progress that I wanna show you is something I was working on last time that I failed on. This was the original prototype, this being the Mermaid Scales Fingerless Gloves by Lena Matheson. And this was the one that I had made last time, which was gigantic, super big, like stretchy. It was just not happening. And so I told you that I was going to restart this project and restart it, I did. So I ended up finishing, I'm just gonna put them on, my pair of fingerless mitts, and they finally fit. Hooray! They actually fit really well, and they are beautiful. Look at that stitch, first of all. That's what makes this pattern really special, is what she calls the mermaid scale stitch that's on there. And I think it's absolutely stunning. I'm not going to show you how it's done or sort of explain it, but basically it's just a really fun, easily memorized pattern. And it's like a 4-row repeat, but really, once you know what you're doing, you don't ever have to look at the pattern again. It's pretty easy. What I did to modify these. So the original pattern called for 50 stitches you cast on. So that's what this giant one is. I cut down to 40 stitches. The original pattern is on size 5 needles. I think that's 4mm. I went down to a size 4 US needles. I also just did the stitch pattern on both sides, so on the front and back, which actually makes them completely reversible. So there's not a left and a right, they're just totally reversible. And I think that's nice because if you like sort of the pooling on this side, you can make sure that that's on the outside, something like that. But yeah, so I did a lot of modifications to this. In addition to changing my needle size, changing my stitch count, and adding the pattern on both the front and the back, I also knit this in the round. The pattern is written to knit flat, but I don't love knitting flat. It includes purling, and I'm not interested in purling ever if I can avoid it. And so I decided to knit them in the round, and therefore I added a thumb gusset, whereas normally you would knit flat and then just leave a large hole for your thumb. So your thumb wouldn't have any knitting sort of up the gusset here. I prefer A thumb gusset. I've made like one pair of fingerless mitts in the past. I don't have like a recipe for my fingerless gloves. I just sort of like do what I liked doing in the last pair that I made. So that's that. They actually turned out really well, and this was the yarn that I thought I was going to kill someone over. I was really peeved by it. This is the Ancient Arts 100% BFL in the colorway Alpine Meadows. So Ancient Arts, again, I picked it up in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada at River City Yarns. It's a 4-ply sock yarn, and I did pay this much money for it. I really was worried that I wouldn't love it, and I'm happy to say that I actually really do love these mittens. I haven't washed them or blocked them yet. I'm nervous about them stretching out, and so I might just keep them, whatever. I might just keep them not blocked for whatever reason. If I do block them, what I might do actually is something I've been doing lately with my blocked garments is that I actually block them in cold water using fabric softener. This BFL is a little bit scratchy, and fabric softener, I at least haven't had any problems washing my wools with fabric softener. I'm sure you're not supposed to for whatever number of reasons, but I find that it actually really does relax those stitches. It helps it to block out really beautifully if there's lace. And of course it gets really soft. And for something like BFL, where it's a bit scratchy, something like this Egyptian cotton, which I'll show you in a minute, also fairly scratchy, I think it helps it to just relax. And it's a fabric softener. It literally softens your fabric. And so I think that that's going to be my preferred blocking solution for the future, actually. It's just a little bit of fabric softener, a bunch of water, swirl it around so that it gets a little sudsy, make sure that it's all like dispersed around in the water, and then, you know, dunk your knits in it. So don't want to have like a big pool of fabric softener at the bottom, obviously. Sorry if I'm sounding so patronizing. I don't know what's going on today. I'm definitely not trying to patronize you. I apologize. Okay, moving on to my second finished object. I made a thing. This is a baby onesie. The pattern for this is the Nantucket Knit Romper by Brianna K Designs. It just has a nice little cable design on the front and on the back. This was a fun knit because it took about 4 hours total, I'm gonna say, and that includes weaving in all the ends, that includes knitting these little straps and attaching them. 3.5 to 4 hours is like an evening or two. So I found it a really enjoyable knit. I just don't think I like it. I don't know, it's weird. It's also extremely small. I did knit the newborn size. It comes in newborn, 3 to 6 month, 6 to 12, and then 1 to 1.5 years or something. There's a couple different sizes on there. And I knit the smallest one, but it looks like I'm giving her a wine bottle instead of a baby. Like, this is so small, but I don't know, maybe I just don't have kids. Maybe this is the size of a newborn baby. I don't know, and considering that it's sort of ugly, I don't like the gray color. Considering that it's sort of ugly, maybe it's good that Devin, the little baby, my little niece, will grow out of it really quickly. It is extra stretchy. It's knit in worsted weight yarn on size 9, US 9 needles, which is like 6 millimeter or something really big. And so it's extra stretchy. There's tons of room to grow. And yeah, maybe my sister will like it. You know, she is very much all about gray being the new neutral color. And so I think she might like it. I don't know. I think I'm also going to knit one of these in white because about the yarn. This is that random acrylic yarn that I picked up here in Egypt. I picked up a skein of this color gray, as well as a skein of like a soft white. It's like a cream colored white. And I picked up those both of those skeins because I thought they were nice baby colors. It's 100% acrylic. It's actually pretty soft, and I figured I could make baby stuff. But now that I knit this, I'm really scared about knitting other baby things in this yarn. Normally I would knit a lot of stuffed animals, but because I'm in Egypt, there's a couple of things, a couple of hesitations I have, shall I say. The first hesitation is that I have no idea where to find fiberfill. I don't want to buy a bag of fiberfill and then make a couple of animals and have like a giant bag of fiberfill left to bring back with me to the US or to just throw away here in Egypt. That's wasteful. In addition to that, I don't have safety eyes and maybe pipe cleaner. There's a lot of little accessories that can go into a knit plushie, and so I'm just not sure. I'm not going to be knitting any, unfortunately, because my sister has said that any plushies that I want to make, she will be so happy to accept for little baby Devin. So I'll have to make up for it for Devin's first birthday when I'm back in the States, I suppose. But for now, she's gonna get, you know, a couple little things. I want to make like a small little lap blanket or something, because I made a beautiful baby blanket out of the chevron baby blanket with black, 2 colors of gray, and white, and that's beautiful. She has it, Amanda has it on display in her nursery, and it looks really great. But I want to make maybe something else with this yarn, because I have this gray and this white. I know it's their colors, but I just don't know what to do. And I have almost a whole skein of all these colors left, so that's it. Anyway, this is the Nantucket Baby Romper by Brianna K Designs. I do think I'm going to make another one of these in white. You'll find out next time, I suppose. Good. All right, for my last final object. I'm really excited about this, and I showed you last time my progress on it, and today I have it to show you, and I have been knitting on this almost monogamously. Like, you'll see I basically had like a couple of tiny projects, a baby thing, and some fingerless gloves. That's because I've been spending all my time knitting this insanely beautiful shawl. Ugh. Can you guys just like have a yarngasm with me right now? I'm sure that's branded by Kristen of Yarngasm, but I don't care. I'm doing it now. Look at this shawl. This is the Emiliana shawl by Emiliana by Lisa Haynes. I'm not sure. But look at it. It is absolutely stunning. This is knit out of just 2 colors of Egyptian cotton yarn that I picked up here in Cairo. White and black. They don't have colorway names. They don't have colorway numbers. This shawl is incredible. It's stunning. I love it. I can't get enough of it. I don't know who it's for. That's the only problem. Black and white is not my preferred color combo. I'm making another kind of shawl that's very similar to this out of these 2 colors. So I actually have another Lisa Haynes design in my queue for these 2 colors. This is much more my style. A little black and white speckle, a little like tonal green. I love these colors together. This is going to be for me. I knit this black and white shawl initially thinking of my sister, because she, like I said, is all about bold, neutral colors, black, white, gray. That is absolutely her color palette. And her being vegan, I bought this yarn with her in mind. Okay, 100% Egyptian cotton. It's a really nice souvenir, something special I can give to her because she's not going to be visiting us. She's literally like 7.5 months pregnant right now, and then she's gonna have a newborn. There's no way she's coming to visit us in Cairo. So I figure maybe this is a good gift for her to have or something. My only problem is that I bought these 2 skeins of fingering weight cotton yarn, and there was no information on the label. It did not tell me how many yards or meters. It gave me 100 grams. It did tell me that it was a 100-gram skein, but I know that cotton tends to be a bit heavier than wool, and so you get less yardage. It's a bit of a shorter skein. So I finished the black, because you basically knit this whole black part first. I finished the black part with like 1 repeat to go because I knew that I'd be a bit short on yarn. And so it said you need about 30 grams. I don't have a scale, so I just guessed. And so I'm knitting along in this mosaic section, and I'll talk about mosaic knitting in a minute. And I am looking at my ball and I'm like, I'm gonna be just barely short of this, you know, of this pattern repeat. And I didn't want to skimp on the pattern repeat because that's, you know, that's the important part. That's the most beautiful part of the shawl. So literally, I get to here, the very last little band of black. Just literally, you're just knit across both ways, knit and knit back. I had a tiny little bit of black. So I knit, and about 3/4 of the way through that first row, right about here, I ran out of yarn. And so I had to use some of my, in my stash I have some sport weight black, it's actually an MCN blend, and I ended up having to pick up a little bit of that. I was contemplating so hard, should I go back to the yarn store, pick up another skein of black cotton, but then I was like, why? I have exactly 1 row of black to do. 1 row, not even one there and back, 1 purl bump, no, 1 row of black is all I was missing. And so I just bit the bullet and I used a merino, I used a wool yarn instead to supplement it. You actually cannot tell where I did this. On the back you sort of can, because it sort of gets thicker a little bit. Right about here-ish. Yeah, that's where I attached the black sport weight yarn. I did the rest of this row and then I knit back in wool. So my sister being vegan, I'm sure she wouldn't mind if it's just 1 row of wool. And of course I don't have to tell her, but that's horrible because I'm not one of those people that's like, here, try this food, vegetarian, and it has chicken broth or something. Like, I'm not like that. So I would tell her and see if she still wants it. But I was so mad because I knew that she would, I thought she would really love this yarn. I thought she would love this shawl. It's very lightweight, it's cotton. I knit it with her in mind. And then I had to use a tiny bit, literally 1.5 grams or 2 grams of wool yarn. I don't know if she's gonna wear it. I don't know if she'll take it. So now I'll talk to her about it first, because if she wants it, she gets it. Otherwise, I'm going to put this up on maybe my Facebook feed and see which of my family or friends would like a beautiful shawl, because it's not for me. Okay, a little about the pattern. This is called mosaic knitting, where right during this color work section, it looks like you would have 2 strands at a time, basically like Fair Isle or you know, proper color work. With mosaic knitting, you slip stitches and you only carry 1 color of yarn across the whole row. So you'll see that these little bands are actually slipped stitches that you slip them for 2 rows before completing the row. So when you're knitting in black, you're gonna skip this, you're gonna slip this white stitch, you're gonna knit and slip the stitch. So basically it's a really cool way of doing color work while using only 1 color of yarn at a time. This looks better the further back you go, because when you're really close, I tend to notice the crosses, but when you're further back, you actually notice that it's a really just beautiful, like, sort of diamond lattice work shape. And so I hope that that comes up well on camera, because that's actually what you really see when it's, you know, when you're looking at it from a distance. That's a little bit where I'm nervous as well about giving this to Amanda, is if she sees it in person, she's gonna like hold it up close, and she's gonna just see all these weird, like, sort of cross, like T-shaped things, as opposed to, when you come back here, I hope you can see that it's more of a lattice crisscross, and the contrasting color comes out a little bit more. Either way, if she doesn't want it, I know somebody else will. This thing is huge, it blocked out very well, and like I mentioned before, I blocked this with fabric softener. I knew that it was going to be fine on cotton. I blocked this with fabric softener. It smells like Downy, it's really nice. And it is soft as can be. Like, it's not quite as soft as wool, but it's really soft. It doesn't have that stiffness or rigidity that cotton yarn can sometimes have. No, instead, this is really soft and beautiful. I almost wish it looked better on me. I'm sure it looks fine, but I might have to make this for myself in another set of colors, because it's easy to wear. It is a triangle shawl, but the way the pattern is written, both ends are, so you knit it basically end to end. And on a normal shawl like this, it's called an asymmetrical triangle, because the bind off end is actually like shorter than the end you've been increasing on this whole time. The way this pattern is written, they are the same length. And that is incredible, because it wears like a triangle shawl, but you get this asymmetrical design, which is just incredible and like absolutely fantastic. And so bravo to Lisa Haynes. She has a bunch of mosaic knitting patterns, like this is what she's known for. I recommend it. Pay for the pattern and do one of these incredible, stunning color work shawls. I'm also thinking that I want to do a giveaway when I'm done with Cairo. Unfortunately, in Egypt, there's not a lot of, they don't have good mail system. In fact, they don't have like home mail delivery. Like if you ship something, you have to pick it up at the FedEx store or at the UPS store. They don't deliver it to your house because like houses and buildings don't really have like building number, street name, you know, neighborhood name or city name, and then postal code. They don't really have a post system like we do. So what I'm thinking is that for a giveaway at the end of my Cairo trip, I think I'm gonna pick up a couple skeins of black and white and do a sort of like a kit giveaway. I'm gonna give you a skein of black and white and this pattern and sort of give it away to a couple of viewers because it's a really brilliant pattern, and I've gotten so many nice comments about the black and white contrast that I think it would be really popular. And it would be an amazing giveaway. Here's some Egyptian cotton yarn. Go knit yourself a beautiful thing made with real Egyptian cotton. Like, I don't know, I just think that sounds really cool and romantic, like a nice romantic idea. So that's it. I could talk forever about this project. I had so much fun knitting it. One last thing. The little stitch pattern. There is a fun stitch pattern. It's not all stockinette. On the big bands of color, so the black as well, and you can see it better on the white, there's actually like a little tiny stitch pattern going on. And it makes a really nice detail. This pattern is just incredible. I have nothing bad to say about it. I only have amazing things to say. And I hope that my sister likes this. I'm gonna ask my mom when she comes to town and see what she thinks. So that's it. Okay, those are my finished objects. Sorry if I just gushed all over the screen for this like amazing shawl, but that's it. I'm going to take a super small break, come on back with my works in progress. So my first work in progress is my cobble socks by Ruth Brash. I had shown you last time my first hoe, my half object. I did finish this sock for last time, and I, of course, cast on the second sock so that I don't get second sock syndrome, because if I wait even 2 days, I will just never ever knit it. These are the cobble socks by Ruth Brash. I'm pretty far along the foot. Like I said, I was knitting almost monogamously on that Emiliana shawl because it was just incredible and I couldn't put it down. But I've had a lot of fun lately picking this back up and knitting on it. So a little bit about the yarn. This is my other Ancient Arts yarn, 100% BFL, and this is the colorway Garden Gnomes and Pink Flamingos. But this is the one that I said last time should have been called like fruitcake, because the pink is like nauseating. There's red and green and yellow like little fake fruit chunks in it. I'm just not enjoying this. I do think that the sock is pretty. When it's all knit up, the sock is sort of pretty. But I'm having like problems just with this yarn. I'm not going to harp on it. I've berated this yarn for the last 2 episodes, so today I'm going to try and stick with all the positivity, especially today on the spring equinox, the vernal equinox. Today is a day to be happy and proud and looking forward to new beautiful things in the future. And so I'm actually quite excited to have these finished. I do wear my hand knit socks all the time. I actually think this BFL is going to be a nice hard wearing sock, but I hope to soften it up again with my fabric softener. That's going to be my like trick of the trade. Whenever I give something to someone, they're going to be like, Megan, this is so soft. I'll be like, Downy, yes it is soft, heyo. So yes, it's got a really interesting stitch pattern on the front. And as I mentioned on the back of it, so the way you get this stitch pattern is there's a couple of slipped stitches involved. And when I had knit my first one out of this crappy yarn, that's what this little skein is. This was half of a sock of these cobble socks out of the same BFL Ancient Arts yarn. And I noticed that when you were knitting it, because you're slipping stitches on the front of the sock, the back of the sock was a little bit longer by the end of the foot, basically, like so it's toe up. By the time you get to the heel, the underside of the foot was a little bit longer than the top of the foot, and I didn't like that. So I decided to make a modified eye of partridge stitch for the bottom of the sock. I think it adds a little excitement. It also makes it so that the socks are going to be quite snug against my feet, which is good. I really like tight socks against my feet. And it's modified because I wanted the number of rows to match the number of rows in the pattern. So it's not exactly like it's not an every other row pattern. It's a little bit different. But you'll have to get the pattern to find out all about it. I am actually hoping to get these done by the next podcast. Like I said, my parents are coming into town and we're going to be spending 3 days in Cairo and 3 days in Sharm el-Sheikh, which is like a beach community. This sock pattern is going to be a perfect like knit at the beach or knit on the go or on the airplane to Sharm el-Sheikh. I'm not going to be knitting on a bunch of my other larger projects, and so I think that this one's going to be it. So that's all I have to say about this work in progress. I'm fine with it. I just wish it were done. The sock is fun, the yarn is not so fun. So I have like a bunch of leftover yarn, but I have no desire to ever knit with it. So if you have any, no, I'm not even going to ask. I don't want suggestions. I'm just going to forget about it. It's going to sit in the depths of my stash until I decide one day that I like it again, which may never happen. Okay, that's my first work in progress. My next work in progress is also a sock. Oh, this looks prettier today than it did yesterday. This sock pattern is it's based on the Simple Skip socks by Adrienne Koo. This is a free pattern on Ravelry, but I'm modifying it just a little bit. This is the third time I'm knitting this sock. I have a problem choosing sock patterns. Like, either I love the pattern but the yarn isn't right, or I love the yarn but the pattern isn't right. So this one, I sort of liked it. I really like it now. I thought I didn't like it. I stopped here because I didn't love how it was turning out. You can see like a nice sort of rickrack stitch. That's what they call the skip stitch, S-K-Y-P. But it's a free pattern. I definitely recommend getting it. It's really nice. I might continue with that. Okay, I was actually, like I said, I really thought that I was going to hate this pattern. I started knitting it, I realized it was going to be too big, so I ripped back to the toe, and then I basically stopped before I increased all the way, and so now I'm at 56 stitches, I believe, 58 stitches, I think, and normally I'm a 60 stitch sock, but I think I'm going to make these for somebody else who has slightly smaller feet, so I think 56 stitches is fine, and yeah, I'm going to continue with it. Okay, I'm happy with this right now. I thought I didn't love it. I loved the toe and I love the just plain stockinette on the back of the foot because this yarn is absolutely stunning. And I'm going to continue with it. I'm just going to knit them. And if the person I'm knitting this for doesn't necessarily like them, I'll take them. I don't care. This yarn, oh, it's so beautiful, all caked up. I think the right lighting is so important when you're looking at your yarn because literally when I was knitting this 2 nights ago, at night colors don't look the same, it's not as bright or vibrant, and I think it can really hinder how you feel about a yarn. So look at it in natural daylight apparently. This yarn is from the brand Artful Belle, and this is the colorway Orchid. I don't know, I do have the information. Yeah, it's 80% superwash merino and 20% nylon. I keep my things in the inside of my yarn ball, but I'm not going to pull it all the way out. But I absolutely love this yarn. It's a bunch of neon speckles. So there's hot pink, orange, green, purple, a little bit of yellow. You can probably see it better in here. It is just all my favorite colors, which is so funny because this is the first skein of like predominantly pink yarn that I purchased, and it inspired me to pick up this other ugly fucking skeiny yarn because I was like, wow, I'm into pink yarn, like wow, I never knew I liked pink. This is the same colors more or less as this. They both have green and pink and yellow and hot fuchsia. But look at the difference. Just look at how much prettier this yarn is compared to this. It's all about proportion. And it just surprises me so much that I love this yarn. I cannot get enough of this yarn. I'm going to make 2 pairs of socks, one for this person who I believe watches the podcast and one for myself. But these, with literally essentially the same colors, I hate it. I hate this yarn. It's ugly. It looks Pepto-Bismol pink because unfortunately they chose for pink to be the predominant color, whereas here it's a cream color with beautiful speckles. I just think it's hilarious that they're essentially the same colorway, just done differently. God, isn't that funny? So I'm going to continue along with these socks, and okay, I'll tell you who I'm making them for. I hope that I don't choose to make them for myself because I love them, but I'm thinking I'm going to make these for my Aunt Lynn, who lives in Washington. She lives in Wisconsin, not Washington, and she mentioned to my mom that she has been not so subtly dropping hints for years that she wants me to knit her something, and I have just been like totally oblivious to these hints that she is dropping. I.e. she'll post something on my wall like knitting related, or she'll say like, oh, did you make that? It's really beautiful. Thinking back on this, I realize I definitely should have understood that these were hints that she wanted something, but like I'm a very selfish knitter, and so I have a few people in my like go-to list. If I'm gonna knit for someone, it's like my mom, my mother-in-law, maybe my sister. Those are like the three that I think of, right? So my aunt, unfortunately, sort of like her interest got lost by the wayside. So finally, she straight up told me she wants me to knit her something. Unfortunately, I asked her and I forgot what she said, what she would want, but everyone loves socks, and these colors are so cheerful and pretty. And who wouldn't love hand knit socks? You can wear them around the house and snuggle up while you read a book. Like, I think it's better than something that you're going to maybe wear in the winter, like a hat or gloves or something else. So I think shawls and socks are like timeless pieces. You can wear them any time of year, you can show them off and whatever, but I am not a big shawl knitter. Sometimes I like them, but mostly not. So these are the Simple Skip Socks by Adrienne Koo. Again, a modification on the pattern. But I'm digging it, and I love it. So thus continues my sock kick, which I have been a dry sock knitter for years. So the fact that I have finished a pair, and I'm halfway through another pair, and I have another pair of the needles, this is like big news, guys. Okay, the last work in progress that I have is something I am loving. I'm living for it. It's incredible. It's beautiful. I can't get enough. Oh, I just want to knit it right now. I'll show you first. It is knit out of this, which is Cascade Cascade Ultra Pima cotton yarn. It's 100% cotton yarn in a DK weight, and this is the colorway Wine. It is not a wine color. This is like a bright red, which is, I love it. I mean, today I'm in like a red mood for some reason, but I absolutely love this. It's so shiny because it's Pima cotton, so it's mercerized. It has no halo. It's a perfect DK weight. Cascade knows their shit. You know, like they're not messing around. And I was originally planning to make the neon cardigan by Joji Locatelli. Something just didn't sit right with me on that. I bought all the yarn that I needed to make the neon cardigan. I purchased the pattern, I printed it out in preparation for coming to Egypt. I've got it like stapled all together, ready to go. And I will make that pattern one day, maybe. But I just was thinking, I have another red cardigan with a lot of lace work in it, and I'm like, what do I need two exactly the same color red cardigans when I don't wear that one? And I looked at it, and like the cardigan is long sleeve, and I'm like, I live in Egypt. My other full-time home is San Diego, California. I don't need a long sleeve DK weight cardigan. And so I started the search again, and I decided to change from the neon cardigan to just a summer top. I wanted a really nice lacy summer top, something I can wear in Egypt, so it has to have a high neck. I wanted to have a lot of lace so that it could be cool in the summertime, and I found the perfect pattern, and I started knitting it as soon as I found it. It was something that was in my favorites anyway, but once I started looking over some people's project pages, you see that one project that's like, yes, that's what I'm going to be doing with it. And so I started it. Oh, I should have put these on bigger needles in preparation for filming today. Oh, I have them on like a 24-inch cable. You can't see anything. Okay, sorry about that. I'll stretch it out as much as I can. This is the Galaxia lace top by Vera Sanin. And it is a lace. There we go, that's not so bad. It's a lace motif that is supposed to be worn on the lace on the front and just stockinette on the back of the piece. What I saw on someone's project page is that they had on the front and on the back, they had just one lace repeat, which is what I finished here. They had just one lace repeat, and then the rest was stockinette from sort of, it was basically from here down, just stockinette. And I'm like, wow, that's perfect. It's so much more appropriate for Egypt because no matter what, you have to wear an undershirt with it. And so I've got a nude colored camisole that I would wear with it. And I was thinking, like, you know, having your front exposed is totally inappropriate. But think about the back. If the back were all lace, very open and flowy, and the front was covered, it's a lot more appropriate. All of a sudden, it becomes an Egypt appropriate top. And so what I decided to do is do one total lace repeat on the top. This is about where it's going to sit. One lace repeat on the top. In the front, on the top, and then do the rest in stockinette, and then on the back, oh my god, my stitches are falling off, and on the back, do all lace. Emergency. So, it's a raglan style top. I've finished maybe 4 inches or so. I've got a lot to go before I separate for the sleeves, but I just think it's a really beautiful lace pattern, and so I'm going to do that. The one pattern that I follow that I just loved, like I said, it has the one repeat on the top, and then she has like a continuation of just this small center diamond. So you have one full repeat and then a small center diamond. It just looks really symmetrical and really beautiful. So I'm going to try and mimic that, but I finished my one full repeat of the pattern, which is in her notes. And then I don't know how she finished this center diamond because the lace repeat has the diamond ending at its widest point. So all she did is for this one center diamond, she just completed it. And it's not exactly clear in the pattern like how that happens. So I'm going to have to sort of figure that out on my own, but I definitely want to copy her sort of little bit and have just one tiny little diamond completed just below this lace pattern. The back is going to be completely open, completely lace. I am so excited about it. I used to have a red shirt that was actually very similar to it, where it was a raglan style shirt. The arms had lace as well, but the front was opaque. It was just completely fabric, and then the back was completely open with lace, and it was gorgeous. It didn't quite fit me right, and so I didn't wear it as much as I should, but I loved it. When I did fit into it, I loved it, I wore it. It was really nice. So I'm trying to mimic that and make a nice summer top. Something I can wear in San Diego, in Egypt, and hopefully something that will be nice and cool for the season. So that's this. And actually, it's a lot faster of a knit than I expected. Like, I expected that this heavy lace pattern would take me a very long time. Granted, it's raglan, so I'm still increasing for these, you know, for the arms. So it's just gonna get longer from here, but I just think that this pattern is absolutely stunning. And the color is perfect. Bright ass red. It is just beautifully bright red. And I'm really excited about it. I am happy to knit on it. I'm going to be taking a break from it. This is the part that sucks. I'm going to be taking a break from it because my parents are here and all I want to do is like sit and knit on my top. So maybe I'll have to do that today and then the rest of the days before they come, because I've got like five or 6 days before they actually show up. So maybe I'll have some time. Okay, those are my works in progress. Normally, this is where I would sort of wrap up the podcast and finish off with a little bit about my Egypt trip, but I, this past weekend, went to like I said, the Cairo flea market. So I'm thinking all secondhand things, but no, it was basically a Cairo street fair artist exhibition. There were incredible artists. There were paintings, there was crochet and knitting, there were handmade bags, there were antique dealers. I saw like a really old antique record player. I think there's like a gramophone, I don't know, but it was still in working condition, like a 150-year-old record player, and they had some beautiful old Egyptian Arabic like classical music. Oh my god, it was just like after my own heart. But I picked up a few things at this amazing Cairo flea market. I picked up a couple pieces of jewelry, not the ones I'm wearing today. They didn't match my outfit, so I didn't wear them. But I picked up a necklace and 2 bracelets. My husband picked up a really nice hand-painted, it's like an Andy Warhol inspired portrait of Michael Jackson from Thriller. I really should have brought it down, but I'm not going to. But he picked up a cool little painting. It's on a piece of wood, maybe 8 by 8 inches, of Michael Jackson. It looks amazing. And then I picked up some of these extra things that I'm going to show you. All in all, we spent maybe $60, and we got enough things that would easily cost $150 in the States. And so I didn't feel bad about buying anything, and I'm so happy I did. So the first things I'm going to show you are my little handmade crocheted things. So one of the first booths that we saw, this lady was selling homemade pot holders, you know me, and anything with eyes, especially owls and penguins and like cute little things. So she was selling handmade pot holders. There were owls, there were pig faces, like adorable pig faces and cow faces. They had a keroppi, like a frog, you know, keroppi. And then of course they had these owls. And so I had to pick these up. These were 80 Egyptian pounds for the 2 of them. And 80 pounds is $5. It's a little less than $5. It's insane how cheap these were, because this is hours of work. And she thought that her handiwork was only worth $5? Are you joking? So I told her I would have paid more, but I didn't pay more. She was like, no, of course, it's only 80 pounds. But I bought them because I was like, first of all, I'm supporting a local artist. Second of all, they're $5. Third of all, I don't have pot holders and I always fucking burn myself in my oven. And they're so cute. And they have like a little, like, thing you can hang them. So I'm about to keep these forever and ever and maybe emulate them because they're freaking adorable. Come on. Like, how could you not say yes to these? 80 pounds. That was it. So that's the first thing I picked up. Another thing I picked up, actually my husband got it for me. Every year for Christmas, one of our gifts is that we give each other an ornament. It's actually really special because over the years we've just collected an ornament or 2 for every Christmas, and now we have our own little, it's like a 2.5-foot Christmas tree. It's a fake one, but we have our little 2.5-foot Christmas tree, and it's full of special ornaments. So this is the one that he picked up for me from Cairo, from the Cairo flea market. And so he saw this, he picked it out for me, and of course I was like, oh my god, it's perfect! Ah! So it's an owl, crocheted. I think it's cotton yarn. It is cotton yarn for sure. But look at how delicate that work is. Those stitches are tiny, and she must be using the smallest crochet hook in the world. And so I don't remember the price on this. I think this one was like 140 pounds, which is like $8. Whoop-de-doo. I would pay like $30 for the same thing in America. If someone hand crocheted this, maybe $25 to $30. Either way, a lot more than $8. Everything is like about roughly 1/3 the price here in Egypt. So how cute is that? So his name, of course, his name is Double Apple, which is a famous and very popular Middle Eastern hookah flavor. Hookah is like a flavored tobacco that you smoke in a water pipe. And Double Apple is like the flavor. A lot of people get it. If you know anyone who's Arab or if you've ever visited the Middle East, chances are you have heard of Double Apple hookah. That's like the flavor to have. So his name is Double Apple, not only because we're living in Egypt, but because he's got red and green on him, and it's Double Apple. And if you've ever seen the logo for like Double Apple, it's a red apple and a green apple. And so how could I not choose that as his name? So I have an ornament. Oh, he's so cute. He just makes me squee. All these little things with eyes just make me squee. Okay, the last couple of things that I picked up at the Cairo flea market are bags. I went to this lady's booth. She had a nice booth, and she had bags and pillows and towels and small like lap blankets, just sort of anything that you could make out of canvas she had. And I looked at them and I'm like, well, that right there is an oceans bag, and that right there is a project bag. And I was like, I was speaking in English, I was talking with my husband and my friend, and I was like, oh my god, I need a knitting bag. And she goes, I've never heard anyone say that about our bags before, but yes, you could use them for anything, of course. Like, A knitting bag, absolutely. And so I picked out 2 bags. This is actually the second bag I picked out. And this is from the brand Coushies. Coushies, C-O-U-S-H-I-E-S. They are based in Cairo. They work with local artists to get their artwork printed onto a canvas. And then they turn that canvas into bags and pillows and like all these things I said, like rugs and whatnot. And they turn them into home decor. And so this is a lovely flamingo bag. And it's perfect. I hope it doesn't like come up too shiny. It is covered in plastic, which is kind of nice. It is the perfect size for a notions pouch. So that's what I've done. I've just put all my little notions. I have my stitch holders. I've got my cable needles. I've got my that thing, tape measure. There we go. My scissors, things like that, and my stitch holders. So yeah, my lovely new notions pouch. And then, actually, the one that caught my eye, which is the one I just had to have, is this one here. I love bright colors, neon, rainbow. It's so shiny. And this design, this sort of shape, is very Middle Eastern. It's almost like an Islamic architecture shape. A lot of mosques here, in the Middle East in general, they will have really beautiful like stained glass in special, essentially like sacred geometry. So if you've ever seen like a mandala, this is the equivalent, this is the Islamic equivalent of like mandalas. They have their own style of Islamic geometry, and this is like a very common shape that you will find in the Middle East. So it's not necessarily, of course it's not only for mosques and like religious things, it's just found all over the city because this is just a very like Middle Eastern shape. If that makes any sense, it's a Middle Eastern shape. Whatever, it is. But look at this canvas. It's beautiful. Look at these neon rainbow colors. It's a plastic pouch, and it's pretty big. So actually, I've been housing my Simple Skip socks in here. And although it's not made as a knitting project bag, meaning the bottom of it isn't like bowed out, it still serves its purpose, and it actually like holds a one skein project pretty well. So you do have to put your skein of yarn sideways as opposed to laying it flat in the bottom, but I don't knit out of my bag anyway, and so look at that. It fits perfectly, definitely no problems, and this is going to be my travel knitting bag from now on. I'm so excited about this. This is another amazing just souvenir that I'm going to take with me from Egypt forever. So I am loading up. I've got perfume that I love and that's going to last me for years. I've got knitting bags now. I've got an ornament. Oh, I have all these Egyptian cotton yarns. Like, I'm going to be remembering Egypt forever, and it feels special to me. So it's just really special to me to have these long-lasting souvenirs, because I hate souvenirs that you just they flee in a second. You know, like if when we visited Kenya, for example. One of the only souvenirs that I did get like a beautiful piece of art, which was very nice, and that's going to last forever. But I also got coffee. I was like, oh, Kenyan coffee. I love coffee. Let me get this. And it was a small bag of coffee. I made like 3 pots of coffee, and then my Kenyan coffee was gone. And so like, I actually didn't like it because it went by too quickly. And so I'm really focusing on long-lasting souvenirs. So perfume, something that's going to last for years. Bags, things that you don't throw away, you know? So that's that. All right, for my last segment, I'm going to sort of show you all the things that are going home with my parents, because they are coming. When we got here in Cairo, it was winter, you know, we got here mid-January, so it was really cold some days into like the 40s and 50s. You needed to have jackets and sweaters and sort of these warmer winter clothes. But now that summer is definitely here, we won't need that anymore. And so I wanted to show you just all the things that I'm bringing back, that I'm having my parents take back to Michigan with them when they leave, so that I don't have to just carry it around here and that I don't have to look after it. So of course she's going to bring this baby romper and the Emiliana shawl, but I'm also going to have them bring back my Hermione's everyday socks that I knit for my friend Lindsay. You'll recognize these from last time. I'm hoping, my sister is also friends with my friend Lindsay, and so I'm hoping that my sister can just sort of give these to her the next time they hang out. I'm also, of course, giving my mom her Stonecraft shawl by Judy Marples, the one that I finished. Oh, it's so soft. I love holding it. It's like just the right amount. It's the perfect yarn for all of this. So she's going to be receiving this. Maybe she'll have a chance to wear it in Cairo. Maybe not. It is pretty warm, but she's going to take that with her. I'm also going to be sending home with my mom all my sweaters that I knit since I've been here. And this is what's actually hard for me to part with, to be honest, because I have been wearing my Britannia sweater by Tin Can Knits religiously. I don't wear it out and about anymore because it's so hot, but if I get a little chilly at night and I just want to, you know, we watch a lot of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. We watch like an episode every day. And so at night it gets a little bit chilly, and so I've been putting on a sweater every night, and I love this one. I don't want to see it go. I'm worried that I'm going to forget about these knits and that I'm not going to remember to bring them with me to San Diego or something. I don't know. So it's actually really hard for me to part with them. But I know it's for the best. I'm going to save space in my suitcase so that I can buy more souvenirs and bring those home with me. So say goodbye to my Britannia sweater by Tin Can Knits. Oh. And last but not least, say goodbye to my owl sweater by Kate Davies. Oh, I've been wearing this one a lot too, although I've noticed that this is like a 55% alpaca yarn, I want to say. It's Knit Pick City Tweed. I don't remember exactly the yarn content, but I know it's merino and alpaca and Donegal tweed. But it's a bit itchy. It's sort of like, my chest skin is really sensitive, and so when I wear this one, sometimes I find I'm a little itchy and I'll get a little bit red. So I don't know if that's an allergy or if I just have to wash it a few more times before it gets like a little bit nicer. But I'm gonna give this to my parents to take back because this is a heavy worsted sweater and I certainly have no use for that. So I knew that I wanted them to take back a bunch of my knitting with them. Like I said, I brought almost a whole suitcase of yarn, and I'm hoping to bring back a slightly smaller suitcase filled with knitted objects. So say goodbye to all of these things because I have to say goodbye to them too. That's it for me. I'm trying to think if there's anything exciting going on in Cairo right now. Other than the fact that my parents are going to come visit, and we're going to visit the pyramids, and we're going to do like a Nile cruise for dinner one night where there's belly dancers and the whirling dervish tanuras. We're going to be visiting the Egyptian Museum. We're going to go to Sharm el-Sheikh, which is like a beautiful beach town for tourists, and we're just going to have a grand old time. So that's the most exciting news. In other news, I started a new round of teaching. So we have like 1 month classes, and so I started my second month teaching. I am now teaching twice as many classes, and I am having so much fun. I love getting to know my students and like helping them learn English and just watching them improve time after time. It's really special. So I just think that I think I'm doing the right thing here in Egypt, you know, like whenever I feel down or I miss home, I realize that, you know, I'm doing this for my own professional development. I'm doing this to, you know, of course be with Paul, who has to be here for his research anyway, my husband. I just know that I'm on the right path, and I know I'm doing the right thing. And so it's good to have these little small accomplishments and these times where I can feel good about my decision to be here, because it's not always easy, but it's easier having these little things. So that's all. Thank you so much for joining me. If you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up. Make a comment. Tell me what you're up to, you know, what you like about the podcast or not. It's really interesting just to see everyone's comments. I love reading them, even if I don't respond to every single one of them. But it's just always really good to see that you guys are supporting your favorite YouTube channels. So that's it. Have a great time. I will see you next time. Ma'a salama. It'll probably be like 3 weeks though. So just so you know. Okay, bye!